Let's check this out. Crowder made a little bit shorter video this time around. He didn't make it a 30-minute diatribe about how he's being treated unfairly and everything else.
Well, thank God.
But he did come off remarkably, in my opinion, laden with stimulants, perhaps Adderall.
You pick up on that shit more than I do.
The head movement and this. And
I always just figured they're losing it a little bit.
both. I will give you that. It's both. He's losing it and he's an Adderall freak. But to kind of catch you, in my opinion, to catch you up with this Crowder thing, somebody offers him a deal after he leaves the Blaze. The deal is what Crowder puts in his video is that the deal, like, cucks to big tech, man. It makes them YouTube's bitch, man, and I don't want to do that. So he shows in the contract that he loses $250,000 in a year if he gets booted off of this platform, or if he gets demonetized here, he loses $100,000. If he gets kicked off of here, he loses 20% of his fee, what they called it.
Yes.
It was an initial offer by a company. Crowder did a 30-minute video tearing the company apart, accusing them of being in bed with big tech, accusing them of being in bed with YouTube, accusing them of being, not for the movement, calling them con artists, calling them StopBigCon, meaning big conservative. It was a double little thing he was doing there. And then when you go to StopBigCon.com, April, what's the entire website?
Oh, give me your email for Mug Club Forever.
Sign up for Mug Club so that you can give me, Steven Crowder, money. So, Crowder fans actually bought this barrel of horse shit. We called it out right away. This is a Crowder staple. It is create boogeyman, pretend everybody's in this fight with you, and then charge them money to fight the fight.
Oh, sure.
It's not just, hey, I pledge my sword. By the way, Jeremy from the Quartering actually said, I pledge my sword to Steven.
I didn't need another reason to not like him.
Jeremy is a fucking baboon. So anyway, Crowder makes that video and then uses it to grift for Mug Club money. I don't know why this wasn't a 100% to 0% vote, that Crowder looked like a fucking idiot asshole who doesn't understand how business works. But his fans stood up for it. Wow, Crowder's great. Tim Pool sucked his dick. Jeremy from the Quartering sucked his dick. So then people start going, well, Steven, if you're this brave, tough guy, why don't you name names? Well, he didn't want to. He didn't want to burn any bridges. He just wanted to shill for his Mug Club and make up a crisis for it.
Well, as if the company doesn't know which contract that was.
And as if anybody didn't know who it was already.
Yeah.
So then Jeremy, the CEO of the Daily Wire, Jeremy Boering, I believe his name is, he comes forward and he basically blows up Steven's spot right away. And he goes, yeah, that wasn't even a contract we offered. It was a deal memo. It was just like, hey, these are the starting points for a negotiation.
Some opening thoughts.
Yeah. So he releases his 20-minute video and reveals to the world what Crowder didn't tell them, is that this was a deal for $12.5 million a year. Daily Wire would have basically been mortgaging their house to bring Crowder aboard, because they don't have billions of dollars.
Nope.
They got probably tens, maybe a couple $100 million, but that's about it. So they offer Crowder $50 million over 4 years. And in exchange, then what Crowder said about the contract then started to make sense.
Yep.
You're like, oh, well, of course, if a company mortgages their future, they're going to
some things.
They're going to need to own all your content because they need to monetize it.
Yep.
And they'll produce your content and they'll put your content out there. But after the 4 years are up, they own that content. It is theirs. You can't take it with you, because we need to be able to monetize it. Because like Jeremy from the Daily Wire said, after we advertise and promote for you, this is going to cost us $100 million.
So a ton of money.
Candace Owens said on Tim Pool's show yesterday, Crowder came back with a counteroffer of $120 million instead of $50. And the Daily Wire just said, look, we can't afford that. So then the Daily Wire going, look, we're not a gigantic business like YouTube. We can't afford that number. Sorry, best of luck. You go your way, we'll go ours. Crowder goes on and just starts flaming them because he's a professional, and accuses them of being in bed with big tech.
He's a great businessman.
Right. So Jeremy goes on, explains it from a business standpoint. It makes total sense. Crowder looks like a jackass. Candace Owens goes on Tim Pool's show, makes Crowder look like an even bigger jackass, brings up how shitty he's treated his employees in the past, and says, oh, Crowder's all of a sudden now starting this movement where he wants to treat people better. How about Sven Computer, asshole? How about not gay Jared, dick for brains? How about those people? Good for Candace Owens. And again, I'm in a weird position now where I have to defend people I don't like.
Yeah, but you need to defend the correct people, I guess, that are being honest.
What's correct is correct. I'll never be a Daily Wire subscriber.
No.
I find Ben Shapiro to be boring. I find Jordan Peterson to be a skosh short of having a mental breakdown. I find Candace Owens to just be, I'm sorry, the Daily Wire's black friend that they wanted.
It's all very dry.
Yeah, it's not my thing. But at least one thing the Daily Wire does that Crowder doesn't seem to grasp is they understand that this is a business and it needs to be profitable first. You know, Crowder reminds me of an episode of Bar Rescue where the woman who owned the pirate bar says to John Taffer, says, but if you change this place or I accept this deal, it'll tear the soul out of this place. That was Crowder's argument to the Daily Wire. Well, we're fighting a movement. Oh, that's interesting. You're fighting a movement? I'm running a fucking business. Like John Taffer said to that woman, businesses don't have souls. They're profit centers. That's it. So when I watched the Crowder video, then I watched the Daily Wire video, the kind of the way I saw it was one's being an angry, petulant, jealous child, and the other being a grown-up who's explaining to us how this situation works.
Yep.
They need to own Crowder's stuff. They need Crowder to stay on YouTube and Twitter and everywhere else, because if he doesn't, they can't get back the $50 to $120 million they're putting into this. When they pay Crowder $50 million, they're out $50 million bucks. They need to make 100 to make up for the 50.
Need to be recouping some money here.
So Crowder sees the public opinion go, oh, fuck, Crowder's a lying sack of shit, a dishonest scoundrel. He's a fucking grifter. This Crowder sucks.
Well, no, I'm not.
So he makes a 15-minute video and he reveals, you know, to show that he's not dishonest and not a piece of shit, he surreptitiously recorded his phone call with Jeremy. Now, a couple things about this. This phone call took place in January. Crowder filed the trademark for StopBigCon.com in September when he knew he was leaving the Blaze. So I'm sorry, I'm having a hard time believing this whole, oh yeah, it was because of this thing with Daily Wire, and that's when I decided I needed to stop Big Con. Well, then you must be fucking Kreskin.
Oh, it's just the thing that pushed me over the edge. You don't understand.
Yeah, he must just be a fortune teller because he knew in September that this was all going to happen in January.
I knew this would come in handy.
Yeah, oh man, I'm glad that I trademarked Stop Big Con.
It's not specific at all.
Yeah. So that when you go to the website, you can just buy my mug club. So here's Crowder's response to the Daily Wire spanking him like a petulant child. Again, Adderall, anybody?
He just looks shitty from the word go.
Can we play that 5 seconds? This is a guy losing it. I'm going to tell you, this is a guy who has nobody around him advising him, and he needs someone around him advising him.
They don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand. They can be wage slaves for a little bit. They can be wage slaves for a little bit.
Okay, that's his big damning. This is the other thing Crowder does. He throws out what he thinks are these smoking guns because he's a double-digit IQ dipshit. And the rest of us hear it and go, yeah, that's kind of how business works.
Yeah, isn't that something? He thinks he's got like this big own or something going on. We're like, no.
He's asking the Daily Wire guy, what if somebody with only like 100,000 subs came over to your company? He's like, well, since they don't bring us any immediate value, they'd have to be wage slaves for a little bit. Then they can build their brand and then make more money. Hey, Crowder, that's how it works for everybody.
Yeah, that is everything. That's like anything from any blue collar job with seniority or anything. Come on.
If you open a restaurant, you ain't taking home a paycheck for a while. It takes some time.
What is it? Like rule of thumb, like don't expect to make money for like 2 years or something like that?
I love how Crowder takes his lack of ability to understand how business and the world works, and then he puts it out there on YouTube and expects people to go, oh, this guy's good. When in reality, people look at each other and go, this motherfucker doesn't get how the world works. This motherfucker doesn't know anything. He's dumb.
And he is. I think it's because a lot of people, that's why I think I've said it before, he won't go off and do his own thing, although he complains about everything else. He's too lazy and scared and dumb to do it on his own.
That's what the Daily Wire guy said. The Daily Wire, he was nice about it, but he goes, when Steven started, he was working for PJ Media, owned by a billionaire. He moved to The Blaze, who at the time was owned by a billionaire. Started CRT, or did CRTV, run by a billionaire. And they're like, so where does Crowder get off thinking he can tell people how they should run their business? No, he's never run a business.
He never has, and that's it. He's too dumb to do it himself.
God bless the talk boy. Those things are worth like $5,000 now. It's an expensive gag. So didn't want to have to do this, but Daily Wire outed themselves very, very quickly.
As if they had a fucking choice. You went and waved the... I hate this guy so... I'm going to get so mad during this. I hate him so much. I didn't want to do this. Where's the contract? They went, look at the contract. Look at it. See how I redacted the 2 words? And they're a big conservative company? That's 2 words? What conservative company do I know? That's 2 words. Daily Wire. That could afford to pay Steven Crowder. Daily Wire.
Daily Wire.
I thought it was HuffPo.
Clearly HuffPo.
So Crowder does everything about him is a lie and disingenuous. And I'm glad I'm not looking at the chat because I don't want to see the repugnant Crowder fans trying to defend this. Guys, we've already turned 1 Crowder fan. And that to me salves my soul. And we'll read it a little bit later.
We will, yeah, because it's pretty honest.
But you guys are being conned by a fucking carny and not even a good one. If this was Vince McMahon pulling this shit on you, I'd go, look, I get it. I understand. He's good at his job, you know. But Crowder is tricking you? You're a dunce. So Crowder waves a contract around, says everything but Daily Wire, and then Daily Wire goes, yeah, that crazy asshole that was yelling on that half-hour thing, here's the deal we offered him. It was pretty good. And not only that, it was just the initial offer. He could have come back and negotiated. He didn't. He's a fucking psycho. And then Crowder goes, I didn't want to have to do this. Crowder is the guy who threw the first punch at a bigger guy, and now the bigger guy's knocking his teeth in, and Crowder's going, why are they doing this to me?
Dude, that bigger guy was even, like, he started out, he's like, what can we do to make Crowder happy? I know he's not happy with some things, so what can we do to make him happy with us?
He literally said that to Crowder, too. You heard that part of the video where he goes, how can we make Steven happy? I don't know. Be a trans person. He seems to really love those.
And sure enough, if you see all of the people who work there, some of whom I have relationships with, they immediately tried to make this all about money. Here's the problem. There are a few problems, and I'll go through with some receipts. Everything that was said about negotiations, how they transpired, beyond the numerical value, which is true and I'll get to, everything else is untrue. I don't really want to get into that. It's completely irrelevant. Here's why.
It's completely untrue. I don't want to get into it. It's completely irrelevant. Show it isn't true, fuckface. You can't just say, you know what it is? He disagrees with it and it makes him look bad. So he just goes to his dumb fuck audience and goes, well, it isn't true. I'm not going to prove it to you. I'm not going to show it isn't true.
I don't have to.
Not even going to talk about it, but it's not true.
But I'll bring it up anyways.
Piece of shit.
Ugh.
Why? Go back to the 20-something minute video, 30-minute video.
Do I have
You've
to?
never heard me say or write anywhere online that these offers weren't paying enough money. Why? Because it's not about the money. It's kind of unreal to me that the only thing these people can still talk about is the money, the conversation.
Okay, again, this is a guy who's never run a business.
This
sounds like a spoiled 6-year-old.
That is the only thing that matters in business.
It's the only thing that matters. Hey, Steven, Your little fucking movement you want to have. I don't know how doing a Billy Joel parody song or a shitty movie trailer is fighting a movement. All you do is whine and then use the thing you whine about. So I'm sorry. I don't buy your movement. But there is no movement without the money, Stephen. Daily Wire is not going to do this for fun. They're going to do it because it pays their bills. Mm-hmm. So for you to go, can you believe that all they talk about is money? Says the guy who's about to be 50, who wanted to be $120 million richer. It's easy to say it's not about money when you're being offered 4 days a week at $120 million. It's really easy, you disingenuous sack of shit. Daily Wire starts your deal down $100 million. You start the deal up $100 million. They are now playing a game of fucking musical chairs where they're fighting the clock. They have to grab 120. Well, technically, you have to grab 150 to $200 million in order to recoup what they're paying Crowder. So you can sit there with the 150 in the bank and go, that's not about money. Meanwhile, the Daily Wire is like, we need to own everything this motherfucker has. We got to make sure he doesn't get banned from anything because we just spent our entire company's value on bringing this fucking guy in. So now they're stress sweating for the next 4 years trying to get that back.
It's like spending money you don't have on an investment you hope pays off for you.
So, Stephen, it is about money. That's where you're wrong. It's not about your fucking movement, you child. You 16-year-old, you college sophomore. For somebody who doesn't like these college liberals, Stephen, you sure do think like them.
Well, projection much?
It's not about money. It's about the cause and the movement. Grow up, Count Chocula.
Was about conservatism, the movement, and big tech. They keep talking about money. I'm talking about a country. I'm talking about a movement. I'm talking about making a difference.
Now go buy a mug and you can help me fight for the country. Yeah, you got it, Paul Revere.
It's not about the money, and Jeremy and the Daily Wire know that. How do I know they know that? Because after, according to what he said, I walked away from the offer. I did place one more call to the Daily Wire, and I made it very, very clear that it wasn't about money. That was not the topic of conversation. There was zero, as they've tried to portray this, miscommunication.
No, there was miscommunication. No. Crowder is incapable of hearing other people. Crowder's going, there is no miscommunication. Yes, there was, Stephen. They're trying to communicate something to you. You're not getting it. They can't do this for the movement. If you want a movement, start one. But he wants to start a movement with someone else's money and then say it's not about money.
He's sitting here playing Mr. Misunderstood, too.
Yeah.
Like, they just don't understand what I'm going for. It's for the country.
It's because
You're not changing shit.
Yeah, it's because in your Adderall-laded brain, it makes sense to you. It doesn't make sense to any of us.
In his brain, too, like, he doesn't understand. Like, he's trying to change how business in general works, and it just can't be that way. Like, businesses will do what they've got to do to make a profit.
It was one last call where the only thing that I asked for, my only demand, was their word, and not even for me, but for other people coming up facing these kinds of contracts.
Oh, yeah, Stephen, champion of the little man, Stephen Crowder. Yeah, so he wanted to make sure that all these young bucks coming up get a fair shake.
No, it's not about him having a good deal, in his opinion.
Okay, Stephen, you want these young kids to be able to come up and have free speech, right? Is that what is?
I think so.
Waive not gay Jared's NDA. Waive Sven.
No shit.
Yeah, waive Sven Computer's NDA. Waive all the NDAs of everybody you've signed. If you don't bring Dave Landau back, let him say whatever he wants about you legally. Go ahead. Go ahead. Hey, Stephen, balls in your court, captain of self-owning.
Wow, that is pretty gay. Free speech matters, but let's take away everyone's free speech that's around me just in case.
And you know what Stephen would say? Well, I'm running a business. Exactly, fuckface.
I've got to protect my business.
Let's say it's a kid who comes in with 500,000 YouTube subscribers or something like that, 100,000. Let's say it's some other kid you're paying six figures to come in and do it. There's not the penalty of the demonetization or if they're removed from iTunes, Apple, YouTube.
Yeah, sure there would be.
I love how Stephen gets to go on this big long diatribe in the phone call he recorded against Jeremy's knowledge. But then Jeremy gets one little sentence.
Yep, he clips it how he wants.
And by the way, yes, there would be that deal for someone who's, because any money that the Daily Wire pays out to that person with 500,000 subs, they have to get back. Of course they would cover their ass on the back end.
And here's something else. I was also very measured. I was painstakingly clear in taking myself off the table because it wasn't going to be a right fit. That happens in business all the time.
You know what doesn't happen in business all the time? The party who decides it's not a right fit goes and rats and tattletales and tries to make money off of it and waves it around for really the dumbest fan base in the world. Honest to Christ, if you're still with Crowder after this, I don't know what to tell you. You're the dumbest, fucking most gullible fan base in the world. You probably still fall for the, hey, look, it's my thumb trick. I don't even know how to fucking do it.
Well, and then just like...
I got your nose. You're like, oh, God damn it, that guy's got my nose. Oh.
After every stupid comment he makes, too, it's like, oh, and I'm not doing this for me. It's for all of you so that you have a better time with this than I ever did.
That's Crowder's greatest problem, is that he can't admit. He doesn't understand. None of us would fault him if it was about him.
Yeah, why don't you just say, no, I want a good deal for myself, and good as in, like, my parameters.
Again, you want to say this is for the young guys coming up. I throw back at you, Sven Computer, not Gay Jared. You're full of shit. Address it.
But that we weren't talking about me. We were talking about the futures of other people who could potentially be in that position, that very disconcerting position. No miscommunication.
Mersch pointed this out last night on Nightwave when he was going over this. He said if his staff found out that him and Royce turned down $50 million from the Daily Wire because the movement wasn't right, they'd kill them.
Yeah, I guarantee you nobody agrees with him.
If I'm Dave Landau, I want to beat the living shit out of Steven Crowder.
I bet they're not even in his studio with him. Remember when he did that first one, we noticed that nobody else was there?
I think Landau's gone because he started a new sketch thing on YouTube. He's doing a shitload of comedy tour dates. I think he's gone.
Your boss is cutting you out of money.
Yeah.
So,
but yeah, if I didn't tell April that we got an offer from the Daily Wire for $5 million, and I just said no to it, April would go, are you out of your fucking mind?
I'd be a little mad, yeah.
You should be angry violently if you find it. And I said, well, April, it's because they would have had to play ball with big tech. She'd go, hey, retard, we already do.
Yeah, we're on YouTube.
We are on YouTube. and the Daily Wire pointed this out. Jeremy pointed this out really well, basically calling him Peter Pan. He goes, hey, Steven, YouTube has billions of users. Rumble has millions. Okay? We have to use YouTube. There's no way in this world where the Daily Wire can monetize its content the way it can with YouTube. It has to. He goes, we're investing in things so that we don't have to use it eventually. Yeah. But that tech isn't ready yet.
What I'm talking about is you're describing a model for everyone, not just, let's get rid of me here.
Good, we will.
Everyone, if there's a penalty for being demonetized on YouTube, because your business model requires that be a huge component of it, you need to change your business model or this movement cannot work, Jeremy.
You need to change your business model. Imagine a guy without a gig goes into a place that's running just fine right now and successful and making money and goes, hey, you guys need to change your business model.
Yeah, I hate how condescending Steven is to people like this.
But the problem is the Daily Wire doesn't need to change their business model. It's working just fine.
Right. I know it's been working for us, and I'm going out on a limb trying to make you part of it, but you're not, working with me here.
I can't imagine my show trying to come up and be beholden to YouTube advertiser guidelines, let alone, honestly, being beholden from a conservative entity with hard strikes, right, being removed, but let alone being advertiser friendly. We know how broad those guidelines are. They might as well just read, don't say anything offensive, and they change them at the drop of a hat.
I'm not suggesting that the guidelines aren't terrible. I'm suggesting that if making money off of those platforms is part of how you're justifying the salary you're paying someone, then or the fee I keep saying salary, the fee you're paying someone, then when those go away, everybody loses money. You can't pay the same amount with less revenue.
That made perfect sense.
I don't know why Crowder's showing this. I mean, it's self-owning. Because, okay, Crowder, fine. We'll take away all the YouTube shit. How's 1.5 million a year strike you?
Sure.
There you go. That's it. Maybe that's what Jeremy should have done. I mean, he probably didn't know this piece of shit was going to record him and play it. But he should have said, all right, Steven, fine. We'll waive all the punishments for YouTube and everything else. All right? We're going to stick to your movement. How's that sound? Because remember, Crowder said it's not about money. Then the Daily Wire can go, all right, Steven, you know what? It's not about money. Good. We're not going to punish you if you get banned from anything. We're going to let you say all your conservative beliefs and fight for the country. How's 1.5 million a year strike you?
Right. I think that would have been a great solution.
Would he have signed the deal?
No.
Fuck
because
no.
he needs the money. He wants
Fuck
money.
no. He wouldn't have signed the deal. Oh, I can make more money doing Mug Club. Then fucking go ahead. Go.
That is always the answer, too. Like, if you can do a better job at something, why aren't you going to go do it?
He's so full of shit. That whole it's not about money thing, it's the biggest nail in his coffin.
How about you create a different business model?
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. Of course, telling
You're on Adderall and you're losing your mind? You don't know.
You're a
what
big
I
old crybaby.
think. You're a fucking bitch who didn't get his way.
Man-child.
Yes. Oh, my God, he does know what we're thinking.
someone else, hey, change your business.
You're secretly gay? I'm sorry, you said you knew what I was thinking.
Your wife's a beard. What?
You love dressing up like a chick. It actually turns you on.
You don't really believe free speech matters unless it's yours?
You fucked your bitch in that dress you wear.
Whoa. She actually is into girls.
You're sexually attracted to Sven Computer, and that's why you let him go, because you couldn't stop getting boners around him?
You were actually wishing not gay Jared was gay?
You actually made that an angry nickname because you were pissed at him for not being a homosexual? It's fun. We might go over a little today.
Oh, no.
Business model. I get it. I'm in no position to say that unless instead of Monday morning quarterbacking it, here's the thing. I didn't just offer criticisms. I offered a guide on how to. Here's the deal. I want to sit at the table with people who, granted.
Then why don't you just go do it, you crybaby?
Why don't you have your own company? Don't give a guideline to somebody who's running a successful company. Fuck you.
He wants,
that makes me so mad.
He wants the money. He wants to work for Daily Wire. He knows he can't uphold the terms of their deal, so now he's making excuses.
If he is going to be handing out fucking guidelines to people, he has got to have his own thing.
Yeah.
Like, he's got to have his own company then. That's it.
Have an immense amount of power and have incredibly deep pockets. That is all true, to be clear. And by the way, it's something that I want to have on our side of the aisle. But I offered a guide on how to do it. It is incumbent, this is what this is about. It is incumbent upon conservatives, if we believe what we say, to uncouple, to divest, if you want to use that term, from big tech.
A liberal term. That's good. You're using a progressive term that they use about Israel. That's good. Isn't the conservative thing, I'm sorry, but I've lived on this earth long enough, aren't conservatives like pro-business?
Yeah.
Aren't they pro-profits?
Sure.
Like they just want everyone to be left alone so they can make money. And like liberals are the ones who care about like the movement, man, and the cause, man. Conservatives are John Taffer and Bar Rescue saying businesses are just profit centers. Mm-hmm. They're not the sole people.
Nope, you're right.
Stephen, go be a liberal if this is the way you want to think. They'll go, I mean, they won't accept you because you've shit on them for so long. But they're all into movements that don't make any money. They're all into charity nonprofits and shit like that. Go ahead. Go nuts.
That's why they all protect like homeless and shit like that too with the affordable housing and shit. No, I really do challenge him. Like if he knows how to do it better, I need him to come up with his own company. He can sign people. He can pay them whatever he wants, have his own rules, and show us all that he can do it better and that we should all be doing it his way.
Enough of this shit for brains. Enough. Shut it. Prove it now.
Right? For the business models of the movement as we move forward, to not rely on playing ball with Facebook and with YouTube. That is something that we have to move toward. You know that we've been trying to do that here for years. That's why every single show we say, hey, if you...
Oh, weird. It's almost like it's not ready yet and it's going to take a while. Why is that an okay excuse for you, but it's not an okay excuse for the Daily Wire when they're shelling out 9 figures for your hacky ass?
That they probably don't have.
Isn't he? He just said we need to divest from all this stuff and move towards something different. That's what they're all doing by creating their own.
Start yourself then.
They're doing their own paywall and shit like that. They're trying. They don't they want the numbers that YouTube has so they can get to that next thing. Why is that okay for you but not okay for them?
Anyone I know that like has their own platform and shit, like they have their own company, a paywall, they still upload clips and shit to YouTube because they know the numbers.
Steven, you got 1 million people on Rumble. Go do your show just on Rumble then. Rumble's done it. They've created what you're asking for. But why won't he do just Rumble?
Not enough viewers, not enough monies.
It's not about money. It's about my movement. This whole video is a movement. It's a bowel movement. It's shit. You're a liar and a con artist and a fraud, in my opinion. You seem like one.
You can watch on Rumble. Please do so. We're not looking to be banned on YouTube, but we certainly won't compromise the truth.
Okay.
In order to be advertiser friendly.
Oh,
here's the thing.
Thank God Crowder's not going to sacrifice the truth. Oh.
Here's the thing, Daily Wire, Jeremy, and I really do hope that we can talk at some point. Please, you can pick up.
I bet you do. That's the only offer he had.
Oh, I hope we can talk sometime. This is crazy ex-girlfriend talk. This is, I just keyed your car. Why don't you love me? Talk to me on the phone. He's a crazy ex.
I just poured gas in your, sugar in your gas tank. But sugar in the gas tank. Now come love me.
Yeah. You fucking lunatic.
Oh, man.
Royce and Mersch were right all along. He's a Canadian sociopath.
Sorry, I wasn't crazy enough to get that right the first time.
It's okay.
The phone. We've done that. We here have found a way to make that work. For proof,
Then why didn't you, man?
see election night, our numbers on Rumble there, and see the numbers on Rumble when we get suspended from YouTube. I think it was 4 times this last year. And I went to great lengths to communicate that to the people at Daily Wire.
Okay, Crowder. Would that election night stream you did, if you were able to do those numbers every day, would it make $100 million over 4 years? Shut up. Exactly. Stupid. That's why Daily Wire told you... Actually, Daily Wire was still trying to get to. You're the one who shit on the whole thing. That's what they were saying with their deal. We need to be able to make this money back in order to push your message. If it's that, Stephen, if it's about the message, take a deal for $1.5 million and put your message out there.
There can be no next me if the people at the top with the financial resources are doing the bidding. That's being the arm of big tech. What you just said is, well, we have to play ball with big tech if we want to make money. Well, I don't. Why don't you guys follow a model like I have and scale it?
So what do you need the Daily Wire for?
Then what do you need it for?
Oh, fuck.
Did you hear? You're so mad at Crowder.
I strained myself doing that.
You might give yourself that fibromyalgia disease he had.
What do you call his boxer's elbow? What is this fucking shit?
It's actually tennis elbow.
Tennis elbow? Yeah. Fuck.
Isn't it funny you played tennis your whole life and only now did you get tennis elbow? Why don't you do what I've been doing? Hey, Big Nuts, go do it. First of all, we're the ones sitting here with a financially viable company. You're the one who's been working off the charity of billionaires for years. So don't come in here saying that Crowder figured out a way to do it. PJ Media, CRTV, The Blaze, you've never done it on your own. So don't sit here and go, I've done it, follow my model. If they followed your model, they'd be geeked on Adderall and fucking people over the way you are. Instead, they have maybe the biggest name in conservative politics, love him or hate him, Ben Shapiro, Jordan Peterson, Candace Owens, all these other people making massive moves for them and making them money.
It kind of reads like he just wants to get at these big companies and rag on them, just for the movement and stuff. And I could see it if he wasn't complaining about the money then and saying he still hopes we can talk later.
He wants it so he can say, remember, he planned this StopBigCon thing 5 months ago. Yeah. So he's just doing this so he can set up the StopBigCon thing and sell mugs. Never forget, this all goes back to selling mugs, Mug Club subscriptions. That's all this is.
That's what I've been doing since 2014. You know that. I've been trying to make sure, which I thought we were all doing, that we can all flip the bird to Silicon Valley. This is saying we need him and you need to play ball.
He sounds like a child. He sounds like
he does.
Teenager.
He wants to change the rules of like the game Monopoly when it's been working for hundreds of years. Not hundreds.
And by the way, before some of you ask for this, look, there's always personal information on phone calls. And for the record, I've recorded 3 people on phone calls in my life.
April, how many people have you recorded on phone calls in your life without their knowledge?
I've not one, even with permission, none. How about you?
I've only beaten 3 of my ex-girlfriends. What? You said you did what now? I've only recorded 3 people on phone calls in my life. Why?
Think about that too. Then the next person, like let's say like you were just saying the girlfriend's example. Oh, I've only beaten 3 of them. Then I'm sitting here thinking, oh, so am I next? That's the same thing with the companies.
That's a brilliant point.
They're not going to want to be with you anymore because they're thinking, am I next?
Well, then he's going to use that as victimhood. I swear to you right now, I'm calling it. His next grift, I'm blackballed from conservative circles. I'm blacklisted. Join Mug Club to fight the blacklist.
Well, that's all baked into the pie here. Like, of course that's coming.
This is the big next grift from Crowder.
All 3 are involved with big tech. Just to be clear, the entire call transcript has been sent to others to verify without hopefully having to release the whole thing. And I'll be on Tim Pool's show, I believe, on Monday to talk about it. Now, this is something else that's been brought to my attention. Look, some people have been sent out from Daily Wire and have gotten very personal. Obviously, when we release...
Oh, yeah, it's all their fault. You came out and shit on them for a half hour. Oh, yeah, fuck them for being personal. Oh, they said bad things about me.
Fucking... And then you only released clips of this phone call after they, like, accurately depicted, like, what they were trying to do with you.
And you've cherry-picked the best clips, and they still make you look like shit.
Oh, it's really gross.
Oh. This video, we didn't name names, and I told you there are a lot of people in the space who have made offers, and it is true. There are quite a few, and there are some others that have been pretty similar to this. This isn't an incredible unique scenario, but there have been some good people out there too, and we're still talking with them. So I do know that some...
You know what I love imagining? I love the fact that he turned that camera on himself and then ran behind the desk and then he's like Howard Hughes in a hotel room.
Oh yeah, I can picture that.
Yeah.
Some people from Daily Wire have come out, maybe been instructed to. I have no idea. I don't care.
What do we know about I don't care?
It usually means you care a little.
Cares quite a bit.
They've gotten very personal. I don't want to do that. At least I didn't want to.
He can't even stick to his lie for a second. Oh,
Home life with this guy would be miserable.
I taped a man's phone conversation with me, but I don't want to get personal. I don't want to fight dirty.
He sounds like the kind of guy, like in a personal argument, he'd bring up something from 4 years ago that you've done. He banked it. He recorded it somewhere, took pictures.
I'm going to fast forward so we can get to the end of this. We're already over time, but and I haven't looked at the chat. I hope we've turned a few Crowder fans here because your boy is... Come get your boy, I think would be the lesson of this one.
The next person, I wouldn't take $1 billion.
I bet.
And certainly not if you understand in context, when behind closed doors, I know, and these people know, and acknowledge exactly what's being done to the next generation of creators.
He can't remember. He cares about the next generation. All right. Time to waive that NDA then for Not Gay Jared and Sven Computer. Come on, Steven. Let's go.
I'm sure those aren't the only ones either.
It's not the only ones. Come on, Steven. You care about that next generation. You can't hold them back. This is about their free speech. Hey, free speech matters. You're wearing the shirt.
I feel like you have to do away with NDAs.
Can't do NDAs. Matters. Well, he's running a business. Well, there you go.
Bench talent, young talent, they don't get deals like this.
So they don't get deals that...
They can be wage slaves for a little bit, come over and make a salary and grow their brand.
Steven thinks that's a big own.
That is the basis for every business ever, right down to McDonald's employees.
I got bad news for you. When Daily Wire pays one of these smaller creators, it is a debt that Daily Wire takes on. That creator is not making them any money. They're paying them a charity, basically, in the hopes that they grow into something bigger and make the Daily Wire money. So I'm sorry, Steven, that is the way the game works.
That you then own.
Well, I own parts of it. I don't own it. They can, when their contract's up, they can still go out and they'll still be famous. They can keep doing their shows, so go do a show somewhere else. They'll be in a far, far, far better place. You helped make them.
Jay Leno doesn't own the Tonight shows he did, Steven. Jay Leno can't just go with those Tonight, and he's a way bigger star than you'll ever be.
At least
you don't hear him bitching about that.
I'm almost glad Crowder does have this recording because there's not a part of this Jeremy guy that looks
I like him
unreasonable here.
Yeah,
not a little bit.
I think he's a good CEO. I think Ben Shapiro's got a good guy running his company.
He sounds smart.
Yeah.
No, not looking at this contract. This contract owns it in perpetuity even after the contract. You're paying a lease but getting ownership.
No, Steven, they own the shit that they produced. You can go out and do your show still.
Once it's over.
Yeah.
That's what this contract is.
On the content that we paid to produce, yes.
Wow.
You know, look, I understand there are going to be differing opinions on this. I understand that.
No. It's going to be the same opinion. You're a douche. There. April, do you and I disagree?
No.
No, we don't have to. See, Steven, there are no differing opinions. We both think you're a douche.
Majority of the room.
Yeah.
I think.
Everyone in the room thinks you're a douchebag.
Yeah.
There's no differing opinion here. You suck.
Who does run a business and has to 20, I think maybe 25 employees. I don't know. We're expanding. I understand people run businesses differently and have different priorities. Here's the thing. I would genuinely still, Daily Wire, Jeremy, love to sit down at the table and explain to you how you can make all of this work. How you can scale what we do and not have to be beholden to the people who we all go out and claim.
That's fine, but then you can't have $50 million because the $50 million is predicated on the YouTube shit. So, Steven, you're right. They can do this without being beholden to big tech. You're going to have to take a pay cut because without YouTube, they'll have to take a pay cut. Mm-hmm. Steven, nobody's arguing with you but yourself. You're arguing with your own points because you probably popped a pill bottle or two. I'm guessing. I don't know. And then you went on this fucking rant because you have no judgment.
I really just think he's dumb. He's business
He might just
dumb.
be stupid. Yeah.
Claim that we're fighting, and especially with all of the financial resources that you have, which, by the way, are very impressive. And by the way,
they're not going to be impressive once they pay you $120 million, though. They need to make, you're going to put them in the poorhouse temporarily until you can make that money back for them.
Since fielding requests for people who've sent this in who you guys are under these kinds of contracts, right? You've sent in your emails. If you're looking to either join a network or looking to navigate these contracts, we've been flooded. I'm going to try and get to all of you. But here's the thing. Let me give you
Jeremy from the Quartering sent a picture of his dick and a heart.
my word. Right now, my word. Everyone, you can timestamp it, call me on it. Here at Mug Club, we will never take any ownership over your social media platforms or your channels, and I don't want a dime ever of your YouTube revenue. You make your own decision as to whether you want to.
Fine, then you'll hire independent contractors. That's fine. Daily Wire hires employees. You don't want to be one, don't be one.
Yeah, what the fuck then? If you as Mug Club are sitting here, you're talking and grandstanding like a company who will never take shit from people. If you're your own guy, what do you need him for? I keep asking that.
Put up or shut up, Steven. Let's do it. Where's your network? Show us your network, because you've only worked for other people.
Want to be monetized or not. Some people want to, some people don't. I just have a problem with requiring that you do and penalizing you if you don't.
They need to protect themselves. Jesus Christ.
Daily Wire, to the rest of the people out there, give me a call. And look, let me put it this way. If you give
Daily Wire, you child, they're not going to give you a call. They're done with Steven Crowder. They're watching this and going, he's embarrassing themselves. I bet you Daily Wire wouldn't offer him the $50 million anymore.
No, I certainly wouldn't.
Because they'd be like, this guy's going to be damaged goods. He's losing his mind in front of the entire world.
If I ever talk to Crowder again, if I'm the Daily Wire, I come up with the funniest contract proposal ever, where it's like, oh, you can get paid this little piddly shit and I won't ask for this. Like, it's going to be clowning around.
Steven, this contract will make you free of YouTube the rest of your career. Oh, great. What is it? $2 million a year. Go ahead. But $2 million a year.
No strings attached, Steven.
No strings attached. Just take a pay cut. Steven, you said it's not about money. Here's your movement. Take it.
me your word. This is all that matters here. Just give me your word that there will never be a clause in a contract again for some unsuspecting kid or someone who doesn't have the luxury to walk away from $50 million, as I did. True, guilty as charged. Give me your word that you will not penalize them 25% for demonetization, another 20%.
Cool, then they'll pay them $25,000 a year. Okay, Steven, there you go. That's you looking out for the kids, Steven. You want to put these kids in the poorhouse. That's what you're doing.
For a strike, another 20% for Facebook, Spotify, Apple, up to 80%. Just give me your word that that clause, that spirit will not be in any contract sent out to anyone else who's at the front lines fighting for this country. And we're done. all of this stops right now. You will never hear from me again. I will go out and sing your praises.
They don't care anymore.
If Crowder ran this country, we'd all be broke.
Jesus Christ. You know what's funny? For a guy who hates liberals so much, he has the economic knowledge of one.
Yeah. Yeah, he really does. He talks like one.
That's really funny to me, is that he has the economic knowledge of a liberal and he doesn't even understand it.